Rob of Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration challenges himself to withstand 30 minutes of the paranormal without getting scared of this haunted place in the woods. Creepy things are soon caught on camera. Rob's paranormal worries are just starting to begin.
My camera battery's already half full before I even really did anything with it.
He's talking about how his fully charged battery is mysteriously half drained when a woman's voice softly talks about taking lives. Strange red lights flash in the corner when she speaks.
Hello?
He also has 2 potential ghost sightings outside while listening for more EVPs.
Sounds closer though.
First, this strange object disappears in the distance, followed by a possible ghost orb up close. Overall, I think Rob's findings are beyond creepy and probably real. Fisherman's Chronicles gets a catch while kayaking in the San Francisco Bay, but you'll never guess what he's caught on camera, or rather, what's caught him.
Oh my, that's a fish on. That's a fish on. Oh my, this is a big fish on. I got a big fish on. Oh, this is a halibut. It's for a shore keeper.
He thinks he's hooked a halibut, but it's much worse than that. A stingray. Its whipping tail is like a serrated needle that will mess you up in seconds flat. He has to get the hook out of its mouth fast while avoiding the tail.
Wow, look at, got a good view of that. This guy's trying to sting me.
Nothing new for him. He's caught hundreds of them before, but I guess everyone can make a mistake. The tail connects and a barbed wire feeling races up his arm. Now he has to get the hook out with the ray in his lap, and he's lucky it doesn't take a chunk out of his thigh here at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. They do have razor sharp teeth. He gets to a hospital as fast as he can, and this is the end result.
Well, I had to row like half a mile back to the kayak launch with a stingray tail like sticking out of my arm.
It's healed up nicely since, and he doesn't have any nerve damage to speak of, but it's not something I would ever want to go through, and I hope he never does again. He's lucky it wasn't higher up and nicked an artery. Also, I just wanted to commend him for not getting angry at the stingray for defending itself. He focuses on getting the hook out of the stingray first before getting help for himself.
I still want to release this guy as fast as possible.
I think everyone's first instinct is to throw it back into the water, so this must have taken an incredible amount of self-restraint. A YouTube channel called Golden Hour travels to a local lake that is just barely frozen over. They walk out a pretty good distance and then start taking turns hitting the ice right next to each other with an axe. It's a crazy game they've just come up with to see whoever will fall through first. The only problem is that they aren't exactly sure how deep this part of the lake is and the temperature is freezing. They soon decide to end this game early before anyone gets hurt. But then they come up with another equally crazy variation. This time they stand on the ice and try to sink themselves instead of each other. Thankfully, the spot they are standing in is only knee deep, but I just wanted to stress that they could have easily been standing on a sharp embankment and could have gone completely under. If that would have happened, they wouldn't have had very long to get out before it's too late. A ghost sighting in Jacksonville, Florida, leaves one man certain he has evidence of the paranormal.
It's not a tree.
A strangely human-shaped figure emits a strange glow. It could be pretty much anything from this far away. Approaching headlights against a tree comes to mind, but he's adamant that it's not a tree. He's too scared to drive any closer, so the video ends. I can't be the only one who wishes he would have gotten closer, but I understand why he wanted to get the heck out of there. 99% of us would have done the same, and if not, then I guess you're braver than most. A kid feels suddenly and inexplicably watched from the front door. He looks through the peephole and can't believe what he sees. He grabs his phone to show us that his apartment is haunted by a ghost. It looks like something scary is peeking at him from around the corner. It's creepy beyond belief, but look at this bright fluorescent light. I think he's using the light to bend a basic lens flare into the appearance of a figure. If so, then this video could help explain how a lot of other supposed ghost sightings were really just tricks of light caught on camera. But if that's not the case, then I have no explanation for what he managed to record that night. Published by Urban Ghost Hunters in February of 2020. This paranormal crew investigated a haunted 19th century church in rural Tennessee, with urban legends surrounding it, involving dark rituals from the 60s onward, and reports of shadow figures and disembodied voices there. It was ripe for investigation, and the crew wasn't disappointed. After placing a Bible on the candlelit railing in the church, something in there was angered by it. I guess this church lives up to its haunted reputation. A man is testing out his GoPro when a mysterious sea creature is caught on camera in deep waters. Look closely behind him. You'll just barely see a small black object move in the waves before mysteriously disappearing back to wherever it came. He suspects this bizarre sighting could have been anything from a great white to an orca whale, or something smaller like an otter or a seal is not out of the question. That's a big difference and not something you'd want left up to your imagination while floating on a kayak by yourself with nothing around for miles. The creature does not resurface and ultimately leaves them alone. He's not sure which mysterious creature is responsible for this suspenseful moment caught on GoPro, but there's always a chance of an even closer encounter next time. This creepy video comes from the equally creepy TikTok handle I'm Watching, uploaded by user 2439525375589. The video shows someone indeed watching, taken from the vantage point of the watcher itself. A large sharp blade is used to open a home's window shutters slowly until a crack wide enough is made to look inside. Someone can be seen at home, appearing oblivious to the person who's watching them, going about their business and shutting off the light. The watcher leaves shortly after. While creepy in and of itself, the soundtrack to the video certainly ups the ambience. Former President Barack Obama once had a Secret Service agent protecting him who has since become the center of many eerie rumors and unsettling theories found online. This video shows the agent standing a few rows into a crowd during one of Obama's speeches. The agent is very broad, but his head and neck are far narrower and more angular than his wide shoulders or body. He also repeats the same set of odd movements over and over again. The agent behind him does not, but it's this far shot that has raised the most questions. The nose, jaw, and chin all appear to be the same length. The brow is set far back, and the eyes are way down by the neckline, while the crown of the head and the occipital bone are disproportionately enlarged. I think it's hard to say for sure in both videos because of the distance. If we get a third video that was closer and more detailed, then a more accurate determination could be made. However, I don't believe this mysterious agent was ever spotted again. A while back, I analyzed a video of a weird spider with a strange growth under its abdomen. Well, I did some more research and found this video, which finally explains what it was: an egg sac. First, they come out one by one, and within less than 2 minutes, hundreds have burst out. Their mother patiently stands guard until they are all free and then leaps away, leaving behind her brood in the hopes that they will scatter to every room in the household and successfully grow to full size. History is bound to affect the aura of some places, particularly history as chilling as Lemp mansions. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Baked Potato, the Redditor writes, "This video was taken off my friend's old phone when she visited the Lemp mansion years ago. Before we analyze the clip, you'll need to know a little background on Lemp Mansion. The historical house in St. Louis, Missouri was the home of the Lemp family in the early 20th century. 3 of the Lemps would go on to take their own lives in the family home. The only surviving Lemp was Edwin, who lived until the age of 90. He did not live in the Lemp family home, however. He moved to his own estate later on. Needless to say, with all these horrific and sad occurrences in Lemp Mansion, some believe it's haunted by spirits. It's now a restaurant and inn that offers haunted and historical tours, and also hosts Halloween parties and dinner theater. Perhaps it was at one of these events that a Redditor's friend caught this frightening footage. As the friend wanders around the mansion in the short clip, you can see odd moving shapes throughout, but the scariest appears at the end. A dark figure lurks in the bright light of the window, materializing out of thin air. It then disappears when the camera pans back around again. According to the Redditor, his friend didn't see the figure at the time. Redditor Fluffy Socks writes, "If you slow it down and look frame by frame, you'll see he's sitting there looking out the window. Gives me a pretty weird feeling, TBH. Do you have that feeling too? I certainly do." A YouTuber named Shinense Army is excited to travel to California, but far less enthusiastic about her flight, specifically her window, which is not sitting in place and makes this unsettling noise.
Going through the window and I didn't tell anyone.
By the time she lands, the first of the 2 layers of glass has slid down enough to poke her finger through. It looks like she is sticking her hand out of the plane, but she actually isn't. There is one more layer of glass that is hard to see, but still the thickness of the window is now halved. She notices something was wrong with her window during the flight, but did not tell anyone until the very end, not wanting to cause a panic. I see where she is coming from, and she might have just been too shy and scared to speak up, but I personally think she should have said something, because they might have needed to make an emergency landing to fix it. She was trying to keep everyone calm by not telling, but looking at the condition of the window, I think it could have put everyone's lives in danger, but above all else, I'm just glad that she and everyone else was okay.
January 21st, about 11 p.m. I'm a couple hundred feet from my house, and you hear it going off in the background right now. Kind of sounds weird.
A brave man hears sinister laughter near his house and rushes outside to investigate. The maniacal laughter is moving closer to where he is standing now. He stands by the streetlight rather than going any further into the darkness on his own. I was thinking that this could be a simple coyote, but then he says this.
If foxes and coyotes have been around here that long, why we wouldn't have heard them before? And all of a sudden, since November, things have been just going crazy around our community.
So apparently, foxes and coyotes have been around this area for a long time, and never have they made these kinds of noises before, meaning that this was probably something different. I also really want to know what he meant when he says that strange things have been happening in his community in November. This video was apparently taken on a reservation in Oregon, but if anyone knows which one, then please let me know so that I can do some further research. Anyway, things seem to be quieting down when all of a sudden shots are fired and an unearthly scream fills the night air. If this was not a fox or a coyote, then what could it possibly have been? The team from Casa Sobrenatural is visiting a house with a malignant demon in this scary clip. At first, they think they see something.
É muito assustador, velho.
Ah, vai se lascar.
Vocês escutaram? Killer?
Por não você não mexeu aquela
quê?
cara.
Que mexeu?
Meu Deus do céu que mexeu, Sandro.
Mexeu o que, Der?
Mexeu a cadeira, por Deus do céu, Sandro. Você não viu, Sozinho? Eu vi, cara, eu escutei.
And then that something makes its presence known.
Por Deus do céu que mexeu, Sandro.
Não, Der, acho que você tava vendo alguma coisa aqui.
Meu Deus do céu! Filho da puta, cara, que é isso, cara?
When they dare to enter, things get more aggressive.
Meu Deus do céu, cara! Sai, sai, sai! Meu Deus do céu, tio! Você que bateu lá, cara? Bateu lá! Jesus amado, bateu, cara.
What is inside? They think it's over, but the demon has one last scare in store for them.
Hã? Pare com isso, cara. Não guarda aqui. Caralho, mexeu a cadeira de novo. Escutou? Eu escutei. Escutou que meu Deus do céu. Cara, arrastou essa merda. Vamos embora. Vamos embora, pelo amor de Deus. Pelo amor de Deus, eu vou rezar. Cara do céu, velho.
In my opinion, there's something truly evil in this house. You can just feel it. A YouTuber named Steve Huff records what he suspects could be a paranormal sighting at the Longleat House in England. Built in the late 1500s, a spirit descends the steps and then continues to walk in midair in heavy, plodding footsteps. Some people are claiming that this is some kind of hologram projection, while others say this is real. If you've ever been to the Longleat House in England, then let us know if this is just a tourist attraction, so we can settle the rumors once and for all. Two friends are fishing when they hear somebody else firing for hunt not too far away. The two don't think much of it and let the man continue his hobby while they continue theirs. They keep casting into the water and everything is going fine for about a minute, and then the two sports collide.
Holy! Stop! Hey! Hey! It hit my boat!
Look again and you can tell that he doesn't pick his foot up for dramatic effect. It was really that close. When you slow down the video to frame by frame, you can briefly see the round as it bounces off the deck right by his foot. If they had been drifting downriver, even just a little faster, it would have been a direct hit and a trip to the hospital for certain. Breaking into a vehicle under the cover of darkness is common. Doing it directly in front of the car's owner, not so much. Published by Doorbell News in October of 2021, this crazy thief must have been seriously desperate. A woman is sitting outside her home in Phoenix, Arizona, talking on her phone as a toddler toddles around, doing baby things. While chatting, she looks up from her phone to find a man breaking into her friend Bubba's vehicle right in front of the house.
Hey! Hey! What are you doing?
The entire creepy event was captured on a Ring doorbell camera. You can vaguely see the man's white shirt as he approaches and then breaks into the vehicle. He didn't technically have to break anything as the car was open. The woman alerts her friend inside, who rushes out to see what's going on.
Can I call you back? Hey!
The guard dog sets off a 12-bark alarm. Thankfully, the man wasn't able to take off in the vehicle before the police were called. In the description, the woman notes that he was taken into police custody. Definitely one for the books in my opinion. You don't see this every day. Please don't try this yourself, but apparently there's a part of the eye that can be touched without producing a stinging sensation. This person pulls down their eyelid and gives a sharp poke to the outside corner of their eye like it's no big deal. He presses down several times in a row without even watering up, which is certainly more than I can say for myself while watching this video. I don't even want to know how he figured out this bizarre trick or how many times he had to practice before getting it right. The best place to see ghosts, cemeteries of course, as these paranormal investigators confirm. They posted this haunted cemetery video in October of 2019 writing, two different husband and wife paranormal investigators accompany GOCM 1 week apart to investigate a known haunted cemetery. The 45-minute video includes creepy screaming heard in the darkness as the investigators examine tombstones, as well as random voices heard using an EVP, a child laughing. Some of the ghosts even ask for help to leave.
What the?
A reminder to bring your EVP along the next time you enter the cemetery. That is, if you want to communicate with the afterlife that lies beneath those hollowed grounds. October of 2017 is when a Canadian YouTuber named Moosey started to experience supernatural problems in his home that were far from normal. Things like spirit sightings and hearing voices. Something is in his house with him, something he can't see and wants gone. One afternoon, Moosey is playing a PS4 game with his brother when the television starts acting up in a way that's been happening far too often lately.
And it's really weird, like, he's been telling me it's been happening all day.
Somebody could have simply turned it off with a remote. His brother Joe isn't holding the remote, but maybe Moosey is. I don't think it was either one of them though, because it looks like somebody unplugged the television, even though they were both across the room.
Guys, what the f? This is what I'm saying. Disconnected again. What's going on?
And when you look again at 4 minutes and 23 seconds, you might be able to see the faintest orb go by his wrist. Since this was made in October, I was thinking maybe this was a Halloween video or something like that, but Moosey's paranormal problems continued well into November. That's when it moved into his room. He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. There's just something preventing me.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, there are bags under his eyes that were not visible in the previous video from a week ago, so I see no reason not to believe what he says.
As tired as I get, you can see bags under my eyes because I get really tired of my house.
After days of no sleep, he now has a plan to cleanse the room. Moosey blends a special root with various household ingredients to make a powdery substance that is believed to keep spirits away. Interestingly enough, the sound on his camera cuts out and this orb appears just outside of his room, so perhaps there is some value in what he's about to do after all. I think it's interesting how the sound cuts off again here, almost like the spirits don't want to hear him finish what he has to say.
Demons, be gone.
Or it could have just been a technical problem uploading the video to YouTube. Anyway, after completing the exorcism, he waits until 3 a.m. before declaring everything is okay. He didn't wait long enough though. This is what happens 5 minutes after 3 a.m.
Free me from all this. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Did you guys hear that?
I really wish he would have thrown open the door here, so we could have seen for ourselves what was on the other side. The fact that he waits for almost a full minute makes me wonder if this really was his nerves betraying him, or just stalling to give his friends time to get off camera. Nothing is in the other room, but if he wanted to prove beyond a doubt that his house was haunted, he should have swallowed his fear and opened the door a bit sooner. Easier said than done, I guess. Moosey did eventually move 2 years later. He and Hype Mike are giving a tour of their new house when it becomes apparent that his paranormal troubles are far from over.
Jesse, Mike, Nick. Whoa!
The knocking comes from behind him, yet no one is at the door. However, in the mirror stands a small hooded figure, or maybe it's just the top of Hype Mike's hat. When they check the camera, the picture becomes garbled by what I suspect is paranormal energy from the same ghost as before. It's found their new address and it wants in. At 8 minutes and 27 seconds, they catch a glimpse of someone running up the stairs. Then they see it in a different monitor right outside of their door before the screen goes white. And that's when what happens in Moosey's old house at 3 a.m. repeats itself. The door somehow locks even though they're on the side with a lock on it. So that's either paranormal or just an oversight in their skit, but I was kind of let down when they show it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely refuse to believe that this person person in an all black spandex outfit is a ghost, so I'm not exactly buying this one, but it doesn't mean that the videos in his old house weren't real, or that this wasn't a crazy fan who got their address. As we all know, ghosts can walk through walls. Here's video proof, published by Full Horror Dose in April of 2022. This scary footage was captured on CCTV in the hall of what appears to be a school building. In one of the cameras, a woman is seen in the hallway. She turns toward the wall and after pausing for a moment, walks right on through it. On closer inspection, there doesn't appear to be a doorway, elevator, or any entry here to explain her seeming disappearance. The way she moves so tentatively is also strange, and her figure vanishes right into the flat surface. What do you think? Is this a real ghost in action? If not that or clever editing, what could possibly be going on in this building? Does this internet cafe have some unwanted customers? Redditor Juice173 thinks it does. He explains that he works in pest control, and this internet cafe was one of his clients. After seeing this footage, the owner insisted that he still has rats. Here is the surveillance video. Here's a clip from another angle. It's strange to me that something falls off of the shelf or is pushed right before the entire thing breaks. I would say it's just a matter of shoddy workmanship rather than something paranormal if it wasn't for that. But this makes me think that there's something more complex going on here, and I see no rats. Have you ever gone on a real-life witch hunt? Way of Vlogs has, and he published his scary encounter in June of 2016 writing, "Finally found where the witch has been living." The YouTuber must have posted other videos of the witch prior to searching for her abode. In this footage, he claims that these stick crosses that he's come across in the woods indicate where the witch he encountered is living. He says there's logs in this wooded area and ceremonial things, although none of that is shown. Then he points out the strangest thing, a teepee made of sticks. As he's filming the teepee, something sets him on edge. He pans around and off to the left stands a woman with jet black hair dressed in white. She's unmoving, but her presence there is unnerving enough to make the YouTuber hightail it out of there. What would you do if you came across this lady in the forest at night? We're gonna analyze some strange things on this list, but this is perhaps the clearest visually. This YouTuber published 3 videos of this sighting in April of 2014 writing, "Original raw footage found of the Turkey UFO seen by dozens of residents between 2007 and 2009. The clip is perhaps one of the clearest I've seen in recent memory. Its shape is unlike that of any man-made air vehicle, as are its lights, which slant along the wings of the aircraft. The clip captures a close-up as well as footage of the object at a distance. It's certainly a strange sight in the sky over Turkey, with some in the YouTube comments calling it the real thing, and one of the most important captures ever. Most in the comments rave at the quality of the image, being that most UFO captures are blurry, low-quality footage. With nearly 6 minutes in this video clip, and 2 other clips to follow, we're hard put to explain what this could be but the real thing. While most hospitals have some stories to tell, I'm guessing a World War II hospital has even more grisly ones on the docket. In this video, published by Subi in November of 2017, he and his friends explore an abandoned World War II hospital in Milton Keynes. For some reason, they chose the dead of night for their exploration, so straight off the mark, the hospital looks scary, simply because it's cloaked in darkness. The only guiding light is the beam from Subi's flashlight. The crew enters in through a broken window. The pair have apparently been in the hospital before, because one of them says he's not going down a certain direction because that's where they hear things all the time. At one point they stop to listen because they both say they've heard something. It isn't clear what they've heard, but they continue on regardless. It sounds as if there's loads of glass on the ground as they walk through the building, cracking and breaking the shards beneath their boots. While the hospital doesn't turn up anything truly mind-blowing, the idea that World War II patients were once brought here conjures up images of scary times, or maybe that's just my imagination. This dashcam video shows traffic moving normally across 4 unobstructed lanes, when out of nowhere a woman appears in front of a black pickup truck. She keeps walking to the other side like nothing is wrong. The black pickup truck definitely hits its brakes, and the car behind them does so as well, which seems like a realistic response. Then again, there's clearly a red stoplight up ahead, so maybe they were braking for that instead. I don't know why this video is void of color. I'm assuming it's because black and white video would take up less space on the dashcam memory card, but it's safe to say that only a ghost would be able to do what this woman does. It's a little past 3 a.m. and this video is about to get weird, so I'll try to explain things as best I can. For a second, the doorbell camera goes out of focus, and then this weird thing floats across. Not an orb, not a bug, not a bird, no wings that I can see. It's just a big out of place anomaly that the uploader of this video was unable to explain, and I fear I can't do much better. If you've seen anything like this go across your Ring doorbell camera or any other doorbell cameras, then explain what this object floating by was. I'm not the only one who would like to know. Published to YouTube by Proving Demons in May of 2020, the channel writes, "We return to the most haunted poltergeist school and captured insane paranormal activity on camera, from ghosts manifesting to things moving on their own, as well as a strange incident of a supernatural nature. This haunted school in the United Kingdom is apparently known for its poltergeist activity. As with most abandoned and reputably haunted places, the school is in shambles, wrecked and damaged by trespassers, age, and maybe even the spirits that haunt the place. Once inside the school, the group of investigators hears a humming that they say sounds like a generator, which is strange since the power is shut off in the school. Through the video, strange noises are heard. Knockings, a woman's wails, a sound like a shower is running. One of the spookiest sounds, though, which the crew seems to hear recurrently, is that of a young girl crying. At one point on the wall, they spot a message that reads, "Dan PD." Could that message be directed at Dan from the Proving Demons crew? As they're examining the message, a noise is heard. Something from the ceiling fell out on its own, causing the lot of them to jump in fear.
Dude, where did that come from?
In the basement, they tune into the spirit box. When asking if anyone is here, the spirit box answers, "I'm here, mate." When asking where the spirit is, a voice says, "Gymnasium." What happened in the gymnasium of this school? Whatever did, it's not leaving. A landlord named Jill Prevost is in the basement of a rental property when she sees a furious house cat guarding the top of the steps. The angry, hissing animal descends upon her within seconds. Watch this part and you'll see the cat attack her purse with all of its might. Jill simply holds it in front of her for protection, otherwise the rampaging animal could have easily been climbing up her leg.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
There is nowhere to run except past the cat up the stairs. Once upstairs, she immediately grabs a broom and remains stuck in the house until the owner comes back.
Get away. This cat just attacked me.
This video is definitely bizarre until you realize cats instinctively go for areas that cause the most damage, like the face or throat. Though it may be a domestic house cat, it is nonetheless protecting its territory with everything it's got, so who knows what would have happened if the owner had not come to Jill's rescue in time. Carly Gum is a YouTuber who learned the hard way what happens when you stick your tongue to a pole in freezing weather. Eventually, she is able to rip her tongue away from the surface, leaving a red stain behind. I hope she is okay. but I wouldn't be surprised if her tongue needs medical attention by the end. It's not too often that you watch a video that completely scares you silly. Published to YouTube by RZ Flame in March of 2017, the uploader of our first clip believes what you're hearing is a ghost, and what you'll soon see will prove it. The sounds are subtle at first. They don't even wake the lone man in the office, who's sleeping on a chair in the corner of the room. Neither does the phone, which rings a couple times shortly after the noises start. He appears to wake slightly, but not enough to get up and answer the phone, and soon he's dozing again. When the phone rings yet again, he finally rises to answer it, before returning to his computer and getting back to work. That's when a chair in the opposite corner of the room spins full circle on its own. This catches the worker's attention briefly, but he shrugs it off and returns to his assignment. A moment later, a water bottle falls from the edge of a desk. At this point, the office worker stands up to gauge what's going on. That's when the poltergeist really has some fun, throwing a chair onto its back in the middle of the office. This activity seems to be the last straw. The man screams and races from the room. That's some good judgment on his part. You often capture more than you bargain for on social media streams. Posted in July of 2019, this video shows a man wandering around an apparently abandoned apartment in the darkness. He seems to be praying, as he shoots video of some window-type compartment up in the right-hand corner of one of the rooms. You can see some stranger peeking through. The man continues to pray, and then suddenly screams in fear as he turns to capture something moving more aggressively in a huge box to his right as he races to get out of there. The door slams behind him. Even outside, he is not safe. He continues to pray while filming the exterior of the home. One of the window shutters up above opens and closes several times. Seems like this home needs more than prayer, it needs an exorcism. A Reddit user named Addison W has posted one of the creepiest things ever caught on doorbell cam to the Chills Narrator subreddit. A large, scary man bikes up to their front door and has this to say.
I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you. Oh God, I can't stop.
The creepy man has his face covered and a light on his head that could be used to better see into people's windows. I don't know which is creepier, the fact that he has apparently been looking into the windows of random people's homes, or the fact that he calmly confesses it to them later into their doorbell cameras. At any rate, I really hope this person is just a random stranger with a dark sense of humor and not somebody who has developed an obsession. Unfortunately, I think the chances are very high that this is somebody who is extremely messed up and cannot help themselves. Hopefully the police find him before any of his compulsions grow even worse.
I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you. Oh God, I can't stop.
There's not a lot of information available about this video, besides that it was broadcast live somewhere in Albania. Two radio personalities are having a spirited discussion when suddenly they are interrupted by something that neither of them can explain.
Pjesa më e madhe janë pushim dhe po e shijojnë dhe një ditë mrekullueshme që është përjashtë. Wow.
Ç'ishte?
A newspaper flies up on its own in the middle of their conversation, and you don't have to speak the language to see the genuine surprise written all over the man's face as it happens. Still, I would really appreciate it if anyone who speaks Albanian could tell me what was being said, or tell me more about their show if you recognize them. I've watched this video many times, and I see no strings attached to the newspaper or anything like that. Obviously, it can't be magnets either. So if it's not magnets or string, Then what could it possibly be besides a haunting? Have you ever heard a banshee or seen one? You're about to. Posted by Omni King Arceus 2 to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader claims this video may be proof of the existence of banshees. Dressed in long green dresses under gray cloaks with long hair and red eyes from constant crying, banshees appear or are heard by those whose family members or acquaintances have passed. The banshee's cry is described as mournful beyond all other sounds on earth, and when heard in the silent night, it is said to predict the passing of someone close to the listener, or may even be a warning of the person's own forthcoming passing. This clip shows an Irish woman named Nicole walking from a shrieking sound outside her home. For some reason, she decides to head out into the darkness to investigate. While outside, she pauses for a moment to listen, and the haunting wailing is heard again. As she continues wandering in the darkness, she addresses whatever creature is making the noise, saying she's not there to hurt it, but to help it. Not long after, there's a shape in the darkness. You can hardly make it out, but it appears like a robed figure. Again, the shrieking noise is heard. The frightened young woman turns to hurry back inside. In the extended version of the video, the woman explains what happened after she returned home. She said when she arrived at the back door, it was locked. She went to another back door and there was a comb on her desktop. She says she doesn't use combs. She wonders if ghosts groom themselves. What is going on here? Angela Elliott added that if you hear the banshee, then an acquaintance will pass away, and if you see one, then you will. As a matter of fact, in the clip, Nicole gets a phone call telling her that a schoolmate was found passed away.
Unleashed with my dad against it and all. Back a sec. I'm sorry, what?
But Nicole saw the banshee too. Will she be next? An angry poltergeist haunting this room is throwing things off the shelf.
Hey! Allah Akbar, Allah. Ini rumah aku, kalau kau nak buat macam ni, kau ingat aku takut? Kau ingat aku takut? Allah Akbar, Allah.
But unfortunately for Arash Afnan, the paranormal activity does not end there.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
Looking straight at him is a mysterious figure standing in the kitchen. A shadow figure that is clearly in the shape of a person. But when he chases it into the kitchen, it's gone and the drawer where it was just standing opens all by itself. Now that's just terrifying. This video was taken from a waiting station at the Islamabad International Airport in Pakistan. Any strings attached to this chair would be easy to see on the bright and reflective cement floor, but I don't see any, and the chair slides across the room without anyone in sight. It looks like it might be getting pulled by someone off camera here at the 33-second mark, but then it does a 360 all of its own somehow, so that theory is pretty much debunked. There's also no way for magnets to work from beneath a solid concrete floor, so I have no idea how this was done. October of 2017 is when a Canadian YouTuber named Moosey started to experience supernatural problems in his home that were far from normal. Things like spirit sightings and hearing voices. Something is in his house with him, something he can't see and wants gone. One afternoon, Moosey is playing a PS4 game with his brother when the television starts acting up in a way that's been happening far too often lately.
And it's really weird, like, he's been telling me it's been happening all day.
Somebody could have simply turned it off with a remote. His brother Joe isn't holding the remote, but maybe Moosey is. I don't think it was either one of them though, because it looks like somebody unplugged the television, even though they were both across the room.
Guys, what the f? This is what I'm saying. Disconnected again. What's going on?
And when you look again at 4 minutes and 23 seconds, you might be able to see the faintest orb go by his wrist. Since this was made in October, I was thinking maybe this was a Halloween video or something like that, but Moosey's paranormal problems continued well into November. That's when it moved into his room. He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. There's just something preventing me.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, there are bags under his eyes that were not visible in the previous video from a week ago, so I see no reason not to believe what he says.
As tired as I get, you can see bags under my eyes because I get really tired of my house.
After days of no sleep, he now has a plan to cleanse the room. Moosey blends a special root with various household ingredients to make a powdery substance that is believed to keep spirits away. Interestingly enough, the sound on his camera cuts out and this orb appears just outside of his room, so perhaps there is some value in what he's about to do after all. I think it's interesting how the sound cuts off again here, almost like the spirits don't want to hear him finish what he has to say.
Demons, be gone.
Or it could have just been a technical problem uploading the video to YouTube. Anyway, after completing the exorcism, he waits until 3 a.m. before declaring everything is okay. He didn't wait long enough though. This is what happens 5 minutes after 3 a.m.
Free me from all this. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Did you guys hear that?
I really wish he would have thrown open the door here, so we could have seen for ourselves what was on the other side. The fact that he waits for almost a full minute makes me wonder if this really was his nerves betraying him, or just stalling to give his friends time to get off camera. Nothing is in the other room, but if he wanted to prove beyond a doubt that his house was haunted, he should have swallowed his fear and opened the door a bit sooner. Easier said than done, I guess. Moosey did eventually move 2 years later. He and Hype Mike are giving a tour of their new house when it becomes apparent that his paranormal troubles are far from over.
It's obviously Mike. Nick. Whoa!
The knocking comes from behind him, yet no one is at the door. However, in the mirror stands a small hooded figure, or maybe it's just the top of Hype Mike's hat. When they check the camera, the picture becomes garbled by what I suspect is paranormal energy from the same ghost as before. It's found their new address and it wants in. At 8 minutes and 27 seconds, they catch a glimpse of someone running up the stairs. Then they see it in a different monitor right outside of their door before the screen goes white. And that's when what happens in Moosey's old house at 3 a.m. repeats itself. The door somehow locks even though they're on the side with a lock on it. So that's either paranormal or just an oversight in their skit, but I was kind of let down when they show it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely refuse to believe that this person in an all-black spandex outfit is a ghost, so I'm not exactly buying this one, but it doesn't mean that the videos in his old house weren't real, or that this wasn't a crazy fan who got their address. Blink and you'll miss it. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Power Startup writes, IDK, what's up with this video? It's slowed down and the voice sounds poorly acted, but when she turns the camera back around, look at the left staircase. As the woman in the video addresses an unseen presence called Joey, the camera pans from a rickety old stair to a darkened window for a moment. It's when she turns back that viewers are seeing something unusual. Redditor Paratrax writes, that's a foot walking up the stairs, while others agree that it appears on the third step to the bottom near the railing. Is this Joey? If so, he's not in the basement. Lady, he'd be right beside you. Things are about to get creepy on this CCTV video taken from a restaurant somewhere in China. A man looks in the cooler and decides to help himself to something else. A while later, he takes a seat near a woman who's looking the other way. 26 seconds is when he looks over and then he goes for it, taking something in her jacket, probably a purse, and walking straight out the door. He's fumbling around for quite some time and likely has to undo a button or two to abscond with her belongings. If only she had turned around the other way, he would have been caught in person and not just on camera. For those of you who think this isn't a scary video, try getting stranded in another country with no passport, money, credit cards, or phone. That's a situation only for the brave if I've ever heard one. The call is coming from inside the house, posted to TikTok by Old Fogey John. You can hear the fear in this man's breathing as he moves around his home. And you'll soon see why. As the man turns around the corner, a mysterious psychotic head sticks out sideways from a hallway, leading down some stairs. The psycho face is looking right at the resident. The angle of his head is so odd it's uncanny. As the mysterious stranger watches, the resident lets out a gasp of pure unadulterated fear. While some in the comments are telling the TikToker to run for the hills, others are suggesting why this man might have shown up. Mayhem writes, when your neighbor finds out you changed your Wi-Fi password, if that's the case, you better give him the new password. When a YouTuber named Aqua Chigger stumbles across a fallen tree, something compels him to take a look inside. He immediately spots an unusual fragment in the freshly upturned earth.
Weird. What do you think?
This prompts him to look inside of the hole. He doesn't see anything else at first, but then...
Ooh, what's that? Stuff might just have gotten real, guys.
It's a piece of green fabric that Aqua Chigger hopes is just a tent. When he finds buttons, however, he knows that this is somebody's blouse. He finds some more remains and turns them over and over again, trying to determine if they are human or not. He notes that they are right by the highway and even says that police found a different body in a creek not too far from here. He eventually finds the jaw of a deer and some other scattered animal remains, so he decides not to call the police. Even if this was just animal remains, it still doesn't explain the fabric he found, nor does it explain how a couple of other bones look like they possibly could have belonged to a human. Let me know what you think this was, and if you think he came across something that should have been reported. Who's hiding behind this mirror? This short clip posted by TikToker Sion Wick prompts that question. Watch it snap this Pokemon card up. The TikToker writes, we're waiting for it to trade us back. In the comments, Reed Hart points out the black fingers at the mirror's edge at the beginning of the clip. Take another look. They look more like spider legs than fingers to me, but if that's the case, this guy's got a mad strong spider on his hands. Have you ever received a call from the beyond? TikToker Epic Paranormal posted this video explaining that their mom received a phone call from her uncle. The only problem is, he's passed away. I don't know about you, but that entire clip gave me chills. Many in the comments have similar stories, having received calls from their departed loved ones. Others have a feeling of dread after watching this clip. I can't blame them. If I got a voicemail like this, I would be terrified. What do you see around this corner? published by Arte Morbid and originally posted on TikTok by Haunted Wesley Manor. This short clip is just one more proof that the manor is truly haunted. In a very dusty chamber of the castle, watch the corner of the arched doorway closely. What appears to be the figure of a small boy with glowing eyes peeks out for a moment before pulling back behind the barricade. He seems to be hiding. Is this a ghost? Or some small kid playing tricks in the castle? Most in the comments think it doesn't look human and call it very creepy. What do you think? I think we are going to be left with more questions than answers for the time being. A YouTuber named Joe Hall takes to the streets in search of the supposedly supernatural, black-eyed ghost children who come out at 3 a.m. This trek eventually turns into a long walk along the railroad tracks in the middle of the night. They are just about to give up when one of them spots a small piece of white fabric flapping in the bushes.
Oh my god. What is that thing?
We gotta get out of here, man.
That thing right there, you see it?
Yeah, well, why are we here?
Let's go. Let's go.
From the shadows comes a person draped in a white gown, just like the legends say. However, I think there's probably a strong chance that this was one of their friends, because it pretty much looks and runs like a normal person in my opinion. It's following them for a while, but then it disappears at exactly 11 minutes and 3 seconds, which is strange, though it could be achieved with some simple editing. They reach their ride a minute later, and shortly before they peel off, this white piece of fabric flaps behind them. Maybe I was wrong about my earlier assumption about this being made up. Unfortunately, we never do get to see its face to tell if the eyes were fully black like the legend says, or not. What happens when your shop vandals turn out to be paranormal? This security footage was published in April of 2010 by Old Phantom 13. He writes, "We had been having problems with people breaking into and vandalizing our shop, or so we thought, so we set up several security cameras. This is what one of our cameras picked up. If you watch closely at the beginning, you'll be able to see what we believe is some type of spirit or ghost. The video shows lockers inside the shop slamming closed, one after another. Then repeated slamming noises are heard off screen. A wheelchair in the middle of the room rolls slowly from one side to the other. What do you think? Are these ghosts into vandalism? Or is this another video of strings, like some in the comments suggest? It certainly looks convincing when I look at it." Cuyahoga official are being stalked by a mysterious being in the darkness. They first capture this figure as they walk toward the haunted place. Still, they do not leave. They continue exploring.
कौन है? आ गया।
ये कैसे हिली?
वो देखो, वो दीवार पे
रिकॉर्ड हुआ।
हुआ यार, वो दीवार पे था या कोई? वो
They then hear some creepy noises around them.
इतनी गंदगी है यार यहाँ पे भाई।
एक तो आवाजें आ रही यार, ये देखो ये।
And then they see it.
अल्लाह अकबर, यही थी ये यार।
It is like the figure is taunting them.
Allah, Allah.
And it all comes to a head.
Oh, कौन? ये क्या?
कौन हो आप?
What does it want from them?
पीछे वो दीवार पे।
It seems to appear and disappear repeatedly.
वो देख यार।
Only to appear again in the end. What is this figure? And what does this all mean? Only the devil knows, which is why this is one scary video they tried to hide from us. When this early riser arrived at work at 6 a.m., she didn't expect to find her first customer waiting. Posted to TikTok by The Blaze Beauty, the worker exits the kitchen and enters the cafe area, revealing a figure standing just outside the front window. She walks toward it. At first, you can't tell if the figure is facing away from or toward the window, but as she steps closer, it looks like the figure is facing toward it, though you cannot see its face. The figure then slams the window with one gloved hand. What is this thing?
Bro. What? Oh, girl. Oh my.
And what does it even want? Many in the comments are shocked that she even approached. Others think he's harmless and just wants a burger. What do you think? It's the window slam that makes me feel like their intentions are nefarious. Nothing will make you want to skip work more than this next video. Published by Real Ghost in September of 2015, this ghost was captured in an office one night. The video shows a darkened room. As the camera pans around, a semi-transparent robed figure appears in a window to the kitchen. When the camera quickly pans back, the figure is no longer there. Are we dealing with an office ghost straight from Tales of the Crypt? He's definitely not here to do some light paperwork. The UK explorer reaches the top floor of an abandoned house and finds himself standing outside of an old break room kitchen. He takes a single step inside and is met with the sound of old material crumbling beneath his feet.
Just going into one of the rooms that we found in a house that belonged to the factory. Nice kitchen. I did in fact fall. Luckily I didn't go right through.
He falls up to his waist and puts his arms out at the last second to save himself, shutting off his camera in the process. A newly formed hole in the brittle floor shows a massive drop, ending in piles of sharp-edged debris. Even if he did survive the fall, no one was around to help 4 miles in all directions. Number 11. I don't know if this episode of CK Taylor's show is more odd or terrifying. Today's item on the menu is gooey duck, which is an oversized clam, not a duck, though it does look extraordinarily gooey. Forget about the appearance for 1 second and let me ask you this. Would you be able to eat anything that sounds like a hissing balloon?
เราจะมาลองชิมกันเป็นคือมันยังเป็นอยู่นะคะ
It doesn't get any prettier or less odd looking when you remove the first layer of skin. If anything, it just looks twice as terrifying as before. And when CK Taylor cracks open the shell, the rest of its body looks like some kind of tumor. This is what it looks like when it's fully prepared, which I will admit looks more like a regular piece of seafood, but still like something from another dimension. So that's a hard pass from me. To be fair, I'm sure CK Taylor is an excellent chef, and her husband says it tastes good when he tries it.
It tastes good, right?
No.
Would you be brave enough to take a bite? A YouTuber named The Maniac sets out with his cousin to explore the back roads of Maine. Within 5 minutes, a vehicle pulls up and somebody gets out while pointing at the ground. He doesn't identify himself and he certainly isn't a police officer, so I think the maniac was in the right to try and get away. I will admit that they were going pretty fast earlier, so maybe that's why this person was so upset. Anyway, approximately 2 minutes later, they see him again, but he is already turning with a car behind him and unable to swing back around. This time, the maniac speeds by him for a final look, and sure enough, the man is wearing the same gray shirt and watch as before. The maniac speeds off again before the man has a chance to get out of his car and try and make another attempt to stop him. A strange sky sighting was caught on camera flying over Bavaria, Germany in broad daylight. I noticed some weird things about the audio, but first, try and translate this mysterious conversation from German to English if you can. I know that 9 means no, but I don't understand what was being asked. Anyway, aside from that, listen again to the weird noise that the object itself makes. I guess it kind of looks like it could be a jet plane, but the wings are too big and it really doesn't sound like one. Tell me if you think this was an experimental aircraft caught on tape or a strange sky sighting of something from another solar system. This is not a drone caught on video, but at the same time I'm curious as to what this actually is. Can you feel the evil in this house of satanic worship? YouTuber Crisel Luna can. She and Laura Rivas enter to see what evil it holds. While touring the place, they find a bottle of black magic liquid inside.
Mira los espíritus. ¿Oíste?
Sí.
As they continue, something appears to confront Crisel.
¡Ay! Flor. No, mi rosario. Cuidado, ¿sí lo puedo agarrar? Sí.
Laura sprays what I assume is an antidote on her, and they continue on. In another room, they spot a portal drawn on the wall and hear laughter.
Las risas. ¡Cállate! Se están riendo, ve afuera. ¿Cómo se empezó a mover? Se están riendo de nosotros, Laura. Ve cómo se está moviendo.
Later, they again hear laughter.
Ay, Dios mío.
¿Te vas a reír de mí por lo que voy a hacer?
Noting that all the windows are closed, they find a lifeless bird on the floor.
Están las ventanas cerradas, en verdad. Vean cómo está todo cerrado. ¿Cómo llegó aquí?
Está fresco.
La maldad que hay en este...
Is this a remnant of a satanic ritual performed here? I think it is, and if that's the case, they should get out pronto. This offering looks fresh. Lewis Clark and his friends want to check out this old abandoned train up close to see what's in it. All the train cars are mostly empty, but then they see something horrible in the caboose.
What is that? What the Oh my god.
The sheets are covered in red splotches and appear to have something heavy underneath them, but Lewis Clark and his friends don't dare unwrap them. They run away from the scene as fast as possible instead, jumping over a second sheet in the process. What was under these sheets, if anything, is anyone's guess, though many have speculated that both incidents could have been covering an actual body. As far as I know, Lewis Clark and his friends have not returned to unwrap the sheets, and they probably never will. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.